Welcome back to Moon to Moon. This is episode 197. It's Living Emergence with astrologer Mariola Rosario. So, this is the third now in this series that I'm rolling out called Living Emergence. And these are conversations with different human beings where we explore the vastness, the richness, the mm, the playground, really, that is living emergence. And so for these first conversations, I'm bringing in the humans who most have my ear and the humans who I have spent a lot of time talking to. And so we are friends in words. We are buddies in imagination. We are playmates in investigation. We are co-conspirators out there in the world speaking many of the same languages, such as astrology, such as the tarot. But as these conversations will be revealing, it's more than those. It cross-pollinates between many languages. So if you haven't had a chance yet, I hope that if you love this conversation here today, you will create some space to go explore my conversations with Natasha Levenger and Jonathan Coe and all of those that will be forthcoming across the weeks, months, and I'm visioning years to come. Maybe you, listener, will be coming on to Moon to talk emergence with me. So let's do it. Let's schedule it. All right. I'm going to be brief in my intro here because like the last episode, this is a long conversation and I want you to just be able to dive on into it. Let me introduce Mariola Rosario to you in case you've never heard of Mariola before. Mariola Rosario, she, her, is an artist, astrologer, writer, teacher, and independent researcher from Puerto Rico, currently based in Paris, France. She explores visual and material culture in relation to terrestrial and celestial practices and mythologies, tracing how images, objects, and language shape cultural memory, origins, and political imaginaries. She is committed to co-creating anti-extractive spaces of learning and mutual aid that honor both the magical and the material conditions of our time. Mariola also has a lot of fun writing on Substack, where she shares reflections on myth, art, monstrosity, astrology, politics, and the magic of language. You can subscribe and read her latest here, and I have the link in the bio, in the show notes rather. And her books are also open for astrology consultations online and in person in Paris at mariolarosario.com. Her upcoming course, Chthonic AF, Unearthing Myths of Power, Sacred Rage, and the Monstrous Feminine, runs through Scorpio season. In this course, we turn toward the underlands, where gaze and voice cut across fear, desire, and resistance. Guided by Medusa and the sirens, figures of fear and allure, they surface again and again in feminist, queer, and decolonial retellings. We will explore why they are returned to, reclaimed, and reimagined, and why we cannot seem to let them go. We ask, what is it that they may be demanding from us now, here in 2025? We will dive into the chthonic and its relationship to monstrosity, ritual, art, astrology, and collective memory. We begin on October 22nd and spend 4 weeks in the underworld together through the heart of Scorpio season. All genders, experiences, and learning styles are welcomed. Sign up is open. The link is in the bio. So, listeners, viewers, if you're with me here on YouTube, um, Mariola and I have been playing with words and magic and story and astrology and with monsters for many years now. She's been on Moon to Moon many times, most recently in a really fun episode. I think it was called Reimagining the Chthonic in the spring, because Mariola also runs this incredible course there where I've been a student in Taurus season in the polarity. So, if you haven't had a chance to experience Chthonic AF, I highly encourage it. If you love listening to Mariola speak, I encourage you to follow her and check out her offerings and consider a consultation. And definitely get in her Substack, because to me, it is one of the top Substacks, and one of the very few that I always read, because I learn so much and I expand so much from them. And yeah, I just really love Mariola's way with words. She's got Mercury on the ascendant in Scorpio. And we've talked about her chart before. One of her first times to come on Moon to Moon was for Living the Fuck Out of Your Chart Scorpio edition a few years ago in the fall, because she's also a Scorpio sun. And then we also did Unshaming the Eighth House together, which came out about a year ago. So that's a super, super, super rich episode. If you're into my Unshaming series and you're learning about the houses, you love the houses, we did Unshaming the Eighth House together. So my voice is thin today, excuse me. Mariola recently, we are still collaborating. We're still very close. Mariola does the year one spring salon with me for the Emergence Astrology program. And we'll be doing it again this spring. Announcing here, this wasn't announced yet, but Mariola is going to be coming back to help me to land the hermits into the salon space in the spring. So all y'all in year one are just going to love getting to know Mariola in the spring. And then Mariola is one of the faculty in Emergence Astrology year two. It's me, Mariola, and Jonathan Coe, who was on the last episode. And the three of us have been playing together since 2020. So without further ado, I give you a completely new conversation on Living Emergence with Mariola Rosario. Enjoy. Welcome back to Moon, Mariola. Always so happy to have you here.
Hello, hello.
You're
Thank you for
averaging
having me.
like twice a year lately.
Honored to be here again. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we were just talking about how we have such loose plans for this discussion that I have a blank journal in front of me. And you know what? I just heard myself say, it feels very like post eclipse, like coagulation of what am I getting at? I heard myself say, I don't want to control, I want to trust.
Yeah, bring it in.
Just like it's always so amazing to come back to trusting after a kind of wrangling with trying to control something. So that's where I'm at today, here under the moon in Libra, where we're going to speak about living emergence together. And we have just loose plans. Excited to be here with you.
Thank you. Likewise. So excited. Yeah, we're just coming off the eclipses. So I guess we're all just kind of situating ourselves after the volatility of that transit. I'm
Hmm.
feeling it myself.
Yeah. Well, I've been beginning these conversations with just speaking about the word emergence and just seeing what comes up for you when you feel into like what it means for you, what meanings has it taken on for you. Um, I feel like it's appropriate to the thing that emergence is a little bit of a slippery definition because it is always kind of shifting for me. So I'm
Mm.
curious what comes up for you.
Yeah, I think shifting is another word for emergence in my vocabulary, like emerging, shifting, changing, muting, mutability. Um, just this idea that something is always sprouting, something is also always dying beneath it, right? And so, yeah, for me, emergence just speaks of possibility and mystery, also speaking about like control and trust, right? If we want to be living emergently, I think one of the conditions is to trust and to try to not be so controlling. I'm saying that like with the back of my teeth, because I'm like, I am a very controlling person. Um, or, I'm trying not to be. It's one of the things that's in my path here. And yeah, those are the things that I'm thinking about. Possibility, newness, a blank page feels very emergent, right? It's like the scary thing of a blank page, but
Yes.
also like the delight of it and the possibility of what may go in this page. Um, I also relate to the word emergence from the art world. I don't know if we've ever talked about this, maybe not, but in the art world, it's the word emergence is used a lot, like emergent artists, like this grant or scholarship or whatever program is only open to emergent artists. Like, and there's a clear definition of what that means, like how many exhibitions you've had, like this kind of like it's related to like very Saturnian work, like work that you can show people and whatnot. And I just recently read an article about an artist that was talking about the concept of emergence, like how old do we have to be to stop being emergent or be
Right.
considered emergent? Something like that. And yeah, I just think it's interesting, this relationship between emergent and age, and this coupling between like maturity and emergence, right? You know
Yes.
what yeah,
Yes.
but yeah, it turns out like we're always emerging. Right? You can be an emerging artist like until you die, basically.
Yeah, and the like what's coming up for me as you're speaking that is like the visible qualities of emergence, uh, emergent having a visibility aspect that's above the surface, but
Yeah.
that the maturity is happening at the same time below the surface.
Mm, Sonic. I
There
love
we go.
it.
Footnote, our last podcast episode, spring 2025. Catholic AF. Um, Actually, when you were speaking, I really wanted to know what words in Spanish and French correspond for you.
For emergence,
Hmm.
or like, ooh,
For what it feels like in English.
oh, I like this question. Hold on, I have to think about this. Well, I have to feel into it. Emergence, yeah. It's funny. It's really like emergency in Spanish. It's like really more that. Um, yeah, like salir, to go out, you know, florecer, to flower. I like that one in Spanish. Fleurir, the same in French. To bloom, right? To flower. Again, like this thing of like coming from the below, from the invisible or non-visible to the surface. These are the images that come through, like vegetal and flower imagery, as always.
As
Yeah.
always. Yeah, I'm sitting here with this justice card that is my outcome for the new moon. Justice associated with Libra. We're at the beginning here of Libra. And in this card, there's the scales with the heart and the feather on either side. This is from
Mhm.
Carnival at the End of the World. Um,
Gorgeous.
that is like the weighing of the heart with Ma'at, the Egyptian goddess of like law, basically, like right living. And I had put it at the bottom of this configuration of cards I have. It's next to me right now as representing the below and the root, which is interesting to play off of Libra as sometimes being about like polish and surface or something, but
Mm,
that actually there is a facet of Libra that, especially through justice, that feels like the below of the Libran like spine that then brings like our relationship to that can
mhm.
bring forth like the beauty that feels most in resonance with our hearts. Does that
Mm.
resonate?
That is so beautiful. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, what I'm thinking is like a Libra also just being in the northern hemisphere, being the initiator of the dark, of this time where we're going into the heart, hopefully, right? That's how we keep warm through the cold. Um, this like seventh house axis of going down into the darkness, the underworld, the land of the ancestors, whatever we want to call it, and then eventually back up again, right? But it's through Libra. Like Libra is the portal, right? So I don't think, yeah, it does Libra much justice to call it superficial, as we often do in popular astrology. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, you had you had just said popular, which sent my brain someplace to different because for that reminded me of our conversation yesterday that we'll get back to
Yes.
here. But yeah, I feel like there's something here that I'm appreciating us getting to about emergence that reveals the what like anchors you through shifting and through the
Hmm.
mutations, is that it's not just like a kind of constant change that's has a bottomlessness,
Hmm.
or a chaos. Not that there's I'm not disinviting chaos, but because it is chaotic, but there is an anchor to
Yeah.
me about emergence, and it
Mm.
feels like it's related to whatever it is that is integrity that is going to be unique for each person.
Mm. Yeah, like the integrity is like the root or something. Like we're always rooting into that, even as we're spiraling or cycling and being in the chaos. Like we have to name it, right? Like there is something chaotic about this destabilizing. But again, trusting into that rooting, right? That there is like something at that bottom that you can like hook into. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you are part of, say, like a government body or a religious body or some kind of governing body that provides like the rules and the order, that that may be how one can feel like anchored. But
Mm,
if you begin to not know how to or not trust as much in like a governing body or a religious institutional
mhm,
body, where do you get your anchor?
mhm,
And it's like that is, a law comes from living the integrity, which only you can, uh, like only you can set that law, one person to the next. That's what it feels like.
mhm. Yeah, I love that. That feels very important to be reminded of that right now, where I really think like the institutions and the governing bodies and the structures that have been holding everything in place for us are really being rattled right now, if not destroyed, right? And so, yeah, I love this idea that we can also provide that for ourselves while also showing up for the collective, right? And all be
Mm-hmm.
individual, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, yeah. So when I was uh, first teaching astrology in 2020, in my first class that you were part of, and I wasn't calling this emergence astrology then. Like I didn't have a name. Um, I wasn't as hooked into that word. Uh, I don't remember how you brought this poem forward. Like, do you remember? We were about to read a poem. Do you remember like what the conditions were?
I don't. I I really like I think maybe we were talking about Aries. I don't know because I associate this poem with Aries or the Fool. But yeah, I really don't know. Yeah, it's recorded somewhere.
Right. Go through all the videos. We were definitely though like into the class, like months in. I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we had
Yes.
found we were doing our thing.
Yeah, we were in the groove. I think I was just like, this poem has been, so we're talking about Caminante, no hay camino. It's a poem by Antonio Machado. And it's a poem that I grew up with. And I think like pretty much like everyone that comes from a Spanish speaking household may have heard this poem at some point or another because, well, it's really well known. And there's a song also by Jean Manuel Serrat um, that's also very popular, and he's just singing the lines of the poem. So I don't know. I must have like made the click of like whatever we were talking about that week and the poem, and I was just like, I'm bringing this poem to my friends.
Oh my gosh. Okay, will you read it for us?
Yeah, should I read it in Spanish?
For sure.
Okay, let's read it. It's very short. Um, I was telling Britton before that I I I have trouble finding like the perfect translation for this poem as it usually happens that like we cannot find the right translation ever. And so maybe one day I'll write my own translation. Okay, so the poem by Antonio Machado. Caminante, son tus huellas el camino y nada más. Caminante, no hay camino, se hace el camino al andar. Al andar se hace el camino y al volver la vista atrás se ve la senda que nunca se ha de volver a pisar. Caminante, no hay camino, sino estelas en la mar. Okay, that's the Spanish.
Do you
Should I
want
read
to
the
do you
English?
want to give a impromptu translation?
No! Caminante. I'm just going to read this translation that I have
Okay,
here
okay.
from, I don't know who translated this. Um, Traveler, your footprints are the only road and nothing else. Traveler, there is no road. You make your own path as you walk. As you walk, you make your own road. And when you look back, you see the path you will never travel again. Traveler, there is no road, only a ship's wake on the sea. Thank you for letting me read that in Spanish.
Hmm. There is no road.
Yeah, there is no road. It's only these steps of ours that create a road. And if there are no steps, there is no road. And then when you look back, you may look back at a path that you've already walked through, but that path is not for you anymore, right? It will never be the same. You can go back to it, but you are not the same, and the path is not the same. Something about that. I always think about the fool with this
Hmm.
poem because the fool in the tarot, this is a bit of that, right? Like trusting that you have to put that foot in front of the other and that whatever is at the other side of that mountain, that river, that thing that you cannot see, that's where you're meant to be going. And you will
Yeah.
never know until you do it.
There's no way to know what's next in the story.
Yeah.
And this yeah, I just remember my just feeling like my jaw dropped to the ground when you read it the first time. And it's really helpful too. And it's definitely influenced my there is no such thing as potential framework
Hmm.
because, like, I think I was just always led to believe there was a right path. There was
Yeah.
like, there is a road that I'm supposed to be on.
Hmm.
How do I get myself there? And like the clarity of there is no road, it just brings it right back to where you are,
Hmm. Yeah. Back to the present.
back to the present, and how I mean, astrology is so fun as a technology and a teacher of time and past, present, future, and holding at the same time there's all what we have is happening right now. That's the only thing. There's only one place you can create. There's only one place you can imagine. There's only one place you can fuck. There's only, like it's like it is here, and the past is always present, but we can't go
Hmm.
back to it.
Right.
It's
Right.
not
And
like the
there
past
is the
doesn't
future.
exist. Yeah, and
Yeah.
there is a future,
Yes.
but we're not
Yeah. This.
actually there yet.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, how painful is this idea of like one path mentality? I also like grew up with this, and I think it's like it was for a long time like one of my great pains, and like something that I would pray for, like show me the path. I don't even know who or what I was praying to, right? Like this is before astrology, um, which is one path, right? Astrology. It's one path. Um, and now um, I feel like I'm walking in a multitude of paths simultaneously, and I'm good with that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also a way of framing like, well, you chose your path. So, like, as if like you made a choice and you're stuck there forever. Accept it.
Horrible.
I know. Um,
No, no. We reject this. We cannot continue like this. There's something also about like wanting other people. Like if you feel stuck in a path, then there's people out there that will want you to also be stuck, Like that like
yes.
weird thing that humans do when they're unhappy. Like we must all suffer as I now suffer in this terrible path. And actually, like this is incorrect. This is not real. This is a fallacy. Yeah. I was thinking before getting on the call about my own path. Like my background is I went to university. I have a master's in literature and culture studies. And like even back then when I was studying those things, like there were people that were like, are you sure you want to study those worthless disciplines? And then eventually I kind of fell out of love with it, mostly because I didn't like to be in the confines of academia. But this year and like in recent years, I have found myself like looping back to that person that like said yes to wanting to study literature and culture studies. Like I still am enamored with those things, and actually they're proving to be like very useful right now in this moment where critical thinking is very necessary, um, where we need to be like really questioning who is telling us stories, where are these stories coming from, like who is the narrator. Like these are all things that you learn when you study astrology, like questioning the voice of the speaker, whoever, whatever you're reading. um anyway, so I've just been thinking about like how I went through that process of like walking that path, then being like, fuck this path, like this is not for me. And then like as I let it go and time went by, I kind of found myself back into not the same path, but yeah, an adjacent riverland path. Yeah.
Yeah, same for me. Um, yeah, none of that. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for all the time that I spent in academia, building out my own voice,
Mhm.
and my ear.
Yeah, I think you and I have similarities. Like, yeah, we share this, we have this in common. It's like coming from academia, yeah,
Yeah.
leaving academia.
Yeah. There's
Mm.
being in academia gave me so many tools that are like liberating
Mm.
in terms of being able to uh, hear what is trying to be argued or like
Hmm.
hear the narrator, hear the rhetoric, hear the persuasive strategies at play, and um, and also develop my own capacity for synthesis and pleasure for that as well. And then, of course, leaving was also a liberation. So, um, yeah, we have both also a love for Paris, and we had been talking about exploring that poem also in terms of walking, like
Hmm.
and the archetype of the flaneur. I'm wondering if you could describe the flaneur.
Yes, with pleasure. So yes, this poem, I mean, it can be read in many ways, right? Like, but one of the ways is like literally like walking, it's a poem. It can be a poem for walkers, for wanderers, for flaneur, like flaneuring. So flaneur is this figure, mostly like it's French, from the 19th century, but really it's a very urban character. In its inception, it was an urban character that would wander the streets of Paris or London, right? Um, Aimlessly is the big is the big factor here. It's like without like a very clear point A or point B or an errand to run. It's just like walking for the sake of walking as like a philosophical practice, walking to find the self in movement. And I I identify with this archetype a lot. I mean, I live in Paris now. I didn't always live in Paris, but I've always been a walker and a wanderer and a meanderer. And I think that this is also how I make art and think, is like through a meandering framework or something, like allowing it to just kind of allowing the ideas to come to me, like things come to you, conversations, words, images on a walk. There's nothing more liberating for me than being able to do that. And it's a huge privilege also to be able to do that and feel safe. I come from a family of walkers. Like my mother is also a flaneur. My mom is a big walker, and my grandfather was also a big walker. And so it's like this thing that I somehow inherited from my maternal line that I think is so beautiful. Yeah, and there's also many walkers, right, out there in the world of literature and art, like those that walked before us these streets in Paris or wherever you are. Those others that were also like maybe like looking for their path, like in the poem, like this insistence of finding a path. But, you know, in lieu of that, we wonder. We just wonder.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's also that aspect of the flaneur that's like um, an observer, uh, like sort
Yes.
of in like moving within and through the crowd, but not of the crowd. So being
Yeah.
able to just step outside a bit and see the dynamics and see what's at play without being totally tethered to it, which has that
Exactly.
kind of full quality. And it also feels very Mercury.
Yeah, it feels very trickster, very like I'm hiding in plain hiding in the crowd. Yeah, it's the eye in the crowd that's not quite or doesn't think of itself as part of the crowd, although it may be, you know. Um, and there's this a power to that to be able to kind of like slip through a crack or hide in a corridor. And so, yeah, it's a way of participating in urban life without like being fully integrated into it. Yeah. Again, a very privileged position.
Yes.
Yes.
Not working.
Yes. Like, well, I guess we have free time today.
Yeah, totally. um, but yeah, there what I like about it is like the freedom of not feeling like there's the freedom of the critical distance of being able to uh make your choices separate from kind of like it almost feels like more tribal moves
Mm,
because you belong rather to the streets themselves or something like this,
yes. Yes.
including the architecture, the features of the place,
Mhm.
not just the humans and class dynamics.
Oh yeah. I that really resonate with that. I mean, I tell my husband that he's my husband, but Paris is my lover. Like Paris is my lover. Like Paris has been the lover of so many before me. Um, yeah, it's like a great activity, I think, also for us melancholic folks, Capricorn moons and such. Yeah, I was reading recently this there is a chapter from Susan Sontag's there's a book called Under the Sign of Saturn. Have you read it?
No.
You need to read.
By
I'll send to you.
Sontag? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
by Sontag, but it's the quote under the sign of Saturn comes from Walter Benjamin, who was a German
Yes.
philosopher. It's one of my favorites. Wrote a lot about the Flaneur and all of these like things from turn of the century. Um, and yeah, it's a quote from him where he's like clearly like talking about astrology. I didn't know. It's always like so shocking to read some of these like people like these philosophers and thinkers and they're referencing astrology. And so he had this phrase that he would say like I was born under the sign of Saturn, and so this is why I have a melancholic state of being. And so he has an essay where he has many essays where he's talking about like walking in Paris or in different cities and how that is the medicine of the melancholic soul is to walk and to just like let the landscape take you. Isn't that incredible?
Wow.
Under the
I mean,
sign
the
of
work of
Saturn.
art in the age of mechanical reproduction was required reading in all my
Yes.
classes.
Oh, I
Uh,
love it. It's one of my favorites.
oh, wow. See, our worlds overlapping. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh,
Mhm.
hmm. Where are we now? Yeah,
We're just walking.
we are. Yeah, I'm from Walkers on my maternal line too. And Paris was really like my best friend that year. Just the squares, the vibe. But I always felt like I was an outsider. And
Mhm.
then that was there was a sadness to this. But I also just think it's my pleasure to be outside a little bit. Um, And
Mhm.
also, as a younger person, even into my PhD studies, um, was always obsessed with ruins and like the energy off of the past and the present.
I love that.
It
I
must be
relate to that
wild
very
in
much.
Greece.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It is. It requires some, for me, some like energetic boundaries, to go to these ruins, especially like the sacred sites, like their ones where rites were being performed. Um, I just went, I just did a pilgrimage, did in May or June to the site of the Eleusinian mysteries that I've been studying for so long, and it's just the ruins, but it's a site where it's a religious site, it's a sacred site. It's like shit was going down. Magic was being practiced, people were being initiated. Um, we don't know fully how or what exactly was happening, but like stepping into that place is just, it's so potent. It's so palpable. Um, yeah, so it's kind of a little daunting. Like, whoa, okay, like this is no joke. But yes, I relate very much to what you said about kind of being obsessed with ruins, and it's just like seeing the bones of the past,
The
right?
bones. Yeah.
Yeah, Saturn. It's like Saturn showing its hand, like I'm still here.
Yes. You know, the initial inspiration for my PhD dissertation, it was gonna be on the first one man show in
Mm,
Paris in like, I don't know,
yeah.
1880. I can't even remember now. Is it was going to be on a totally different thing. It was going to be on the development of the one man show. I even got to meet with the Pizarro family. Like I was deep into my studies. I
Mm,
had a research grant in Paris one summer. Like I did all this research. And then I went to my friend's ranch in New Mexico and there was a um, decommissioned missile silo. And he was like, y'all want to go explore the missile silo? And I went down there and the experience of this ruin that was created in the Cold War, in this moment of time where people are like actually building missile silos right outside this
mm.
town. And they, at the same time, were building an underground high school, just to protect the kids. Like,
Yes.
what does it take to stand that psychologically, existentially? And I came back and wrote a paper on just like we have ruins of these decommissioned missile silos all over the United States. Within years, they were replaced by newer technology, and they're just all over the place. People are turning them to Airbnbs.
Oh my God.
And like relative to the kind of ruin you're speaking to, these temples, I was like, what?
Yes.
What culture does this? And that's what I was going to be writing my
Oh
dissertation
my
on.
God. Oh,
But yeah, the bones. Um,
yeah, the bones, the temples of war.
mhm. Yeah. Um, yeah, the underground. And that's when I started doing all this research on the literature of the underground and like in a literary way, how we explore the underworld from like a sci-fi fantasy lens, mythological lens. So I wrote a paper on Alice in Wonderland. Yeah. Wrote a couple other papers and then I found astrology. And so that book is being written in different ways now through
I love it.
emergence
Yeah, I feel, yeah,
astrology.
I can see how, yeah, like the research has continued, just like in a different, with a different language, different lens. Love.
Mm.
Yeah, it's kind of like speaking to that, like the one path myth, right? Where like
Exactly.
here you find yourself once again talking about the mythological underlands or the psychological ones um, in a new way. Yeah, so beautiful. Thank you,
Yeah.
cycles.
I know. Well, and it also takes us back to justice and what's underneath. What's underneath a person, what's underneath a culture.
Mm,
Um, and um, like how do we move forward, as a holding like the shame of putting all that money into building these underground silos.
mm.
Yeah, I should have known we'd go to these places.
Yes.
But
Have you read
yeah.
that book, Underlands? I forgot who the author is. It's a British man. It's called The Underlands.
Is it a
It's
fiction?
amazing. No, it's
Hmm.
about like different underland spaces. I don't think he writes about the silos in Mexico and the US, but like of course there's a chapter on the catacombs in Paris and in
Yes.
Italy. Um, and then like other like different sort of underlands like sewer systems and things like that.
Yes.
Um, the subway,
The
like other
subway.
yeah.
Yeah. Because during when Lewis Carroll was writing Alice in Wonderland was during when they were creating the tube. That
I didn't know
interesting?
that. That's very interesting.
Um,
Hmm.
no, I didn't find that book, but I probably would have because it's just endlessly fascinating to me. Which is, it still is. I mean, we just speak of it more metaphysically in these spaces, but
Hmm.
it's still what's
Yeah.
emerging. Because there's what's hidden and then there's what's emerging, um, that can
Right.
be at play here.
Hmm.
So we had talked about playing around a bit with the elements in emergence. Does
Oh
that
yeah.
sound fun?
Yes.
Love how you've done this with your writings for Chthonic AF in the fall and spring.
Mhm. Me too. Yeah, I've been I think a lot about the elements. I think as anyone that studies astrology, tarot, like there's many practices where like the elements are just foundational, right? Like the elements are the foundation in a way, right? They're kind of like the most like I don't know if like stripped down archetype. Um and they're also the roots, which is like I was thinking about while we were talking about the underlands, right? And the underworld and whatever is the beneath what we cannot see roots, right? Roots are such things. And thinking about the origin of roots, like radical is a word that comes to mind. Like to be radical, right? Is like to be of the roots or coming from the roots. And I think like that's a good starting point for the elements. Like they are radical in that sense, right?
Are you telling me that the root of radical, the etymology of radical
Is
is of the roots?
I think so.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I don't think I realized this. I
Yeah.
love it.
Isn't that good? Yeah, I hope I'm right. I'm pretty sure I'm right. I'm pretty sure I've gone
It's
down this rabbit hole several times.
yeah, and it feels like an inversion. We can tend to think of radical as being out leading the ed at being at the
Mhm.
edges of a thing that's emerging, like the
Yeah.
avant-garde.
Yeah, like
And
Aquarius.
and to know that its etymology is the roots seems to like Yeah, it just like inverts it in a way that I think strengthens the
Mhm.
heart of radical.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's like you can have this like very sort of external vision of radicality or revolutionary, like words that we associate with radical, but really it's like coming back to the roots, coming back to the origin, coming back to the soil, right?
Yes.
Tangible, yummy soil, right? Mm.
This is taking us back to earlier, talking about the
Yeah.
emergent as the visible, but there's an anchor.
Mhm.
Oh, how cool.
Chthonic. It's all very chthonic.
Chthonic. Okay, for anyone who hasn't heard our previous episode and may be new to that word or always wondering what it means, do you mind just inviting everyone in
Yes.
so we're on the same page?
Yes, yes. I apologize if not. The chthonic, I mean, I keep mentioning it because it's kind of like an internal joke, I guess. But yeah, it originates like from chthon, from the Greek, and its meaning, it's often associated with like the underworld, like in the earth, under the earth, beneath the earth. But something that's important is like the word earth. Like it's also like the earth is a big part of it, like the ground, the soil. And so in mythology and religion, it's often when we say chthonic, we're referring to deities or spirits or archetypes that live or are in some way associated with the underworld or with death. Um, Things like that, like the depths of the earth. And yeah, just like always linked to this death, life, rebirth cycle that we can, we often talk about with like Scorpio, Taurus, like that Scorpio Taurus axis. I think it's very interesting because death deities, like quote, Scorpio, are also agricultural deities. Like more often than not, we will find that death deities are also related to the cycles of life, to agriculture, to growth. So there's this connection though, between the spring, fertility, hope, possibility, new life, and then, inevitable death, decay, compost. Like it's the full cycle when we talk about the chthonic. And then we have all these characters, creatures, characters, names that we associate with the chthonic, right? Like Persephone is a big one, queen of the underworld, of course, Inanna, like earlier. I would say Jesus also, like to
Yeah.
bring Christianity, like literally, going down and then coming up resurrected, like all of those stories of like going under, um, and then and then we have characters that don't never come from up back up, right? They stay in the underworld either because they live there or because they're tethered to the underworld in some way. And then we have these more liminal characters like Mercury, Hermes, the psychopomps, the ones that can go in and out of the underworld. They sort of have like special permissions to get people, bring people in and out of the underworld. So yes, all of these stories are related to the Kafan.
Mm.
Yeah. And Alice in
Yes.
Wonderland is a very Catholic story in
Yes.
that sense. Yeah.
Yes. And when I was studying that whole literary genre, I learned this phrase catabasis, catabatic.
Mhm.
I don't even know if I'm saying it correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
Um,
Catabasis.
Meaning going down, the journey down, and these old stories have a point of like you're going down and the world is getting stranger and stranger and stranger. And then there's some kind of moment where you take your power back. And then there's some sort of return. Um, it's endlessly fascinating. But I feel like what I'm seeing us doing here is really underlining the life cycle of emergence, you know?
Okay.
Yay.
I'm ready.
Like we're just like restoring to the picture the whole the the that it has a death cycle. There's like a death to emergence. There's a death
Mhm,
phase of cycles of emergence.
mhm.
Does that resonate?
Yeah. Yeah, that super resonates with the elements like creating a kind of um I don't know, like a movable infrastructure or something, like a non-fixed infrastructure for emergence, one that's like has roots and is rhizomatic and spiralic, like all these structures that present to us in sort of, I want to say like queer ways, like divergent ways, queer ways, like feminist ways, like again, like stepping away from this myth of the one path. There's no one
Mm-hmm.
path,
Yeah.
multiple paths.
Um, yeah, I'd love to play a little bit with the elements then. Where should we start?
Hmm. Let's see. I have some words, I guess, written here. We can start with fire. The first
Mm-hmm.
one that I have written here. And I also have my little list of that I wrote from my generative dictionary because I wanted to. This was months ago. I was thinking about, um, yeah, just the origin of words, the origin of like these adjectives, right, that we give to the elements and to like even just the word origin, like how we just kind of accept the origin of things. And I'm like, no, like that's why I'm so obsessed with etymology, right? Like
Me
we must go
too.
deeper.
Yeah.
It's so poetic,
Mm.
etymology, like Cancerian work, like when we're doing etymology work, it's like really like going like to the beginning, like to the mother of everything,
Yes.
the belly of the mother. Um, yeah, for fire, I mean, the word that just kept coming up this time around is just spirit, spirit,
Hmm.
spirit, spirit. Like fire can listen to the spirit of things. Yeah. How does that, how, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I love it. And I'm thinking about like, okay, yeah, let's talk fire because we've got Neptune, Saturn coming together, fire. We've got a lot of new invitations
Yes.
emerging. Um, but yeah, I feel like um when I think about emergence with fire, it's just like the it just arrives like
Mm-hmm.
in a kind of non-verbal powerful
Yeah.
way. The force of it exists, whether I want it to or not, when it's in fire.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the symptoms of resisting emergence when it's fire are usually like frustration and irritability.
Yeah, inflammation, I
Yes.
think, is like the big one for me. It's like I literally get red and I get rashes when I have not gotten the fire out.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
something's coming through. It's like the energy has to go somewhere.
I love
Where
this
would you like
phrase.
it to go?
This is one of my, I feel like this is like a foundational phrase for you. Like, I remember you saying this phrase so many years ago. Like, I think it was like a Mars retrograde
It was.
in Aries, I
Yeah.
believe, which was like, woof. um, yeah, I've never forgotten this phrase
Yeah.
since then because I was
It was
really
a
like, wow, the
podcast
energy.
episode. And I kept repeating it and repeating it. Yeah. The energy has
Yeah,
to go
and we were in the
somewhere.
middle of the pandemic too. I remember like really kind of like still in that sequestered mode. And like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, there's like a lot of energy that needed to go out. And you know what? Like it did. Like I see collectively how that fire did, you know, go out in not so constructive ways.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But yeah, it can also come as just like a force to like go give someone a kiss, like
Yes.
it's like it's such a it has so many motivations. And it's because it's not mental. I think with fire, it's like the emergence wants our noticing,
Yes.
Are you willing to
Yeah.
notice that there's this energetic impulse, this energetic spirited thing that wants to
Hmm.
move? Um, which could tie back to walking too.
Hmm. Oh
When
yeah, that's
it's just like walk, just go move it out.
this is a big thing that for me to like I get, yeah, I get a lot of fire out in these walks that oh, yeah, it's like absolutely vital for all my different practices like astrology practice, like holding space for people, being in a relationship with another human being, uh, all of these things. Like walking is something that is very helpful to kind of like just get it out there in a non-verbal way, like in just like a purely physical. I have some words here. So in the dictionary I created, I have igniting, which is like such a emergence word, right? It's that moment right before the flame is like fully lit or something, right? So like such an intense moment. Um, I have volcanic, catalytic, oracular, and alchemical. I love
Hmm.
volcanic. I'm thinking about this for fire. There's this movie called Fire of Love. If you have not seen it, it's a documentary I recommend for everyone. It's a documentary about two volcano. What are their names? Like the scientists that study volcanoes, the volcano experts, or yeah, like volcano chasers, almost like these people that are just like out there when volcanoes are erupting. They're the ones that are taking the photos that we get to see of the lava and the videos and all of that. And they're volcano enthusiasts, and they are also a couple.
Hmm.
And it is the story, their story chasing volcanoes and also like being in love. It is incredible.
Oh
Fire of
my
Love.
goodness.
Yes, a must. Very Mars.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, I've written it down. Also think about agitate and activate
Hmm.
as words. Um,
Yeah, I like
Sometimes I
those.
think there's, go ahead.
No, no, you go.
I was going to say, I think that we can be activators and agitators for others, even if we're not like in someone's face, if something that you convey through your act or speech or art agitates, it's not that like you're actively making someone be agitated. It's that you're scratching
Mm,
something you said is scratching. And I think for us humans, we're really learning to have skill between like, am I being activated or agitated because this is not resonant with me or because it is and it's challenging a part of me that doesn't want to look at this, but I'm being called to now, you know?
yeah. Wow. I love that. Yeah, I like that this is like we're moving beyond just adjectives, right? Like these are not just descriptions of the elements. They're verbs, like they're action.
Mm,
They create movement. And this is interesting to bring into astrology, right? When you're reading a chart, when you're looking at someone's placements or whatever, like it's interesting to bring this like possibility of movement and charge, right? Which is like another fire word, I guess.
yeah, totally. We can be afraid too of saying something truthful or asking a question that activates or agitates. And also, we don't know what's next in the story for like what that activation led them to next, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I think getting back to Mars and Mars to me feeling like so present moment and so connected to like the quote unquote brutalness of honesty that that honest speech has that fire property of agitating, even if it's not, it's just being itself, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that the pointy side of the sword, that we didn't know was there. I'm thinking about anger, like straight up, like anger, rage, like those are also expressions of fire. And yeah, specifically like online and maybe not only online, but I see this like being expressed online so much where there's like the activation of something that you disagree with, like someone saying some fucked up shit online, and you're just like activated immediately. It's like the fire is turned on, and there's this anger, and then like it becomes really hard to like almost like pay attention to anything else. It like consumes you, and yeah, I've just been thinking a lot about this
Me
because there's
too.
just a lot of this online
Like
right now.
the varying degrees of agitation and yeah, and you know, when you don't have practice of moving your energy around, moving your activation
Yes.
around, you numbing becomes an intelligent move and you just pretend something's not happening and
Yeah.
dissociate
Check
from
out.
it. Um and so I do think a fire can like moving through your uh rage can be a powerful activator for emergence in ways that you can't even fathom, like the beautiful flowers that are coming. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
you're just moving through your rage, but along the way, what will emerge will be some pretty sexy flowers. We've
Yes.
gotten real with our rage, you know?
Mm-hmm. yes, it's so powerful to work with fire, rage, all of this is,
Yeah.
I feel just so vital right now. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Learning to be with the fire and the rage and yeah, that discomfort for sure. Learning how to listen through the fire, like that's one of my
Hmm.
questions. Like, can we? Like when we're in like extremely like fiery moment, like can we even are we even capable of listening? You know, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, probably not in the Mars iteration of fire.
No, no.
Maybe in a solar or a Jupiterian fire, responsiveness is more possible, generative. Um, in a Mars form, it might be more like take some space for yourself and alchemize it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're just like in very Marsy territory right now. Mars
We bring
ingress
that out
into
of each
Scorpio,
other.
and we're
Yeah.
both very Marsy people. But yes, I think we should name that there are like so many possibilities of fire, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Let's not forget the erotic fire.
yeah. The best.
All the territory, all the terrain of the erotic belongs to fire, I think.
Hmm. Hmm. Yum. Yum.
Yeah. Fire of love. Lots of.
Yeah. Hmm. Do you feel complete with fire?
I think so. I mean, for sure, we're not doing it like, we're not going,
We're not
we're not going to do
exhausted.
all of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just like, it just, honestly, it's like very emergent, this thing where like the fire in our culture currently, like the heat is turned up really high.
Yeah. Which, from a life cycle of emergence perspective,
Yeah.
that also speaks to like the cauldrons are lit, change is here.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. 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 Mm.
Um, and I think it's also good that we spent extra time on Aries since the outer planet shift with Neptune there will be pretty resonant for years to come.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, we are all in the cauldron of Aries, like learning. We're all gonna have to collectively, emphasis on collectively, like learn how to be in the Aries cauldron, um, with Saturn and with Neptune. It's like the big, like a massive collective undertaking.
mhm. Yeah.
And I think we're just at the beginning of it, which is possibly why it feels so difficult.
Yeah, we had talked a little bit about like ingress or ingresses when a planet moves into a sign
Mm,
as a kind of as connected to emergence because
yeah,
the forcefulness of the change of the ingress is going to move things around as in such a way that there there will be new you can expect new ways to emerge.
right. Yeah, and it's one of the characteristics of 2025, if that makes sense for people out there, you know,
Hmm.
like kind of landing in new territory. Um, been a lot of beginnings of new energy in 2025, and it's going to continue. It's going to continue, you know.
Yeah.
we're just like at the very beginning. I'm very interested in this, like the first degree of things, right? And the first degree of Aries, first degree of Gemini, like um, just like the beginning. We're there. Yeah. So we don't know. Still a lot of mystery.
Yeah, we're just in so much, we're getting so much information. We don't have the space yet to really look at it. It's like a flaneur, and be like, ah,
Exactly.
I can see what this is. We're just in the experience.
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah. You want to move to air?
Yeah, let's talk about air. I mean, we're in Libra season. Like air is uh, important, feels important. We're coming from Earth, Virgo, right? And now we're here with air. I think air finds the words, articulates the things, right? Makes the systems, organizes the thoughts, or disorganizes the thoughts. Like all of these can move in different directions. Um, yeah, and when it comes to astrology, I think something that I associate with air is just asking questions, right? It's air that helps us formulate and articulate the good questions that can then, move the conversation forward, open up the spaces for dialogue, for storytelling, etc. So air is very important. And going back to fire, like fire and air, right? We can also these elements are always working together, all the elements. Um, but I do think that collectively we are in a moment where we are also in the baby steps of like figuring out how we work with all this fire and air. Like how do we articulate things, right? How do we listen? How do we talk to each other with kindness?
Yeah. With Uranus entering Gemini,
Yes.
Pluto in early Aquarius. And like as we're talking, the sun is trining them
Mhm.
and Mars just entered Scorpio, so squaring Pluto.
Mhm.
No wonder Mars is hot today for us. But yeah, I was thinking too about emergence in air and how like I love trusting in directions from outside myself. Like Mariola said it here, and then I read it over there, and then I had this dream. And
Mm.
like it feels like something's emerging through coincidences, synchronicities, like words being repeated,
Yeah.
phrasings that are evocative that are coming in threes through different mouths, and it's just like, oh, the environment, it feels like the environment, the ecosystem is communicating what I need to know to help me, walk in my path.
Hmm.
And like the signposts, the directions are, it's all there. All the data is there. Like, are you paying
Yeah.
attention? The data is coming through. Um, and that I love because again, I don't want to control. I want to trust, right? Like it helps to know that like, just keep your ears open and the information is coming through to help the path.
Mm. Yeah, like trust the pollinating quality of life, of existence, that there are things that are just like floating out there, right, for you. And yeah, I guess the requirement is to pay attention and to want to play. Um, yeah, to want to grab those things, right? To play with the threads. I think of weaving, threading. It's like a very Even though it's like quite earthy because it's like very material, like weaving ideas, threading uh, disparate concepts and bringing them together, making them make sense um, through like creative ways. Also, I think there's a lot of creativity in air. Um, yeah, what else? One of the words that I have for air is infectious.
In
It's
say
like
it again.
infectious, which is, it doesn't have like such a positive connotation, but this idea that things get spread not through force, but like through just like contact, like through energy, through presence, through just being there, um, open to receive them, right? Yeah.
Yes, totally. I also like air here in emergence. Just like really, it feels like what would it be like to trust that you are part of the ecosystem and as such, like you are being fed and guided by it, and including your partners, the people you listen to, the friends, but also random conversations happening behind you in line to get coffee or something. Like
Yeah.
it helps uh, to clear distortions about being alone, not belonging, and having to figure it all out yourself, you know?
Yeah. Belonging to the ecosystem. And I think also decentering the human also. This is like a big
Totally.
theme in my life right now. Just decentering the self a bit so that you can like see that the self is tethered to all these other intelligences, all these other weaves, all these other conversations, nature, spirit, above, below, sideways, um,
Yeah.
past, present, future, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the more I'm growing in like my sense of self as leader, it feels good at the pace that I am opening myself up to be pollinated and to pollinate and to play and just really like not being interested in pictures of a leader that is
Yeah.
somehow separated and
Mm,
not connected. Um, that sounds really sad. Um,
yeah.
and I think it is uh,
Yes.
for many.
Yeah. We have
So
many examples of
many
sad
examples.
leadership.
Spiritually lonely leaders.
Yeah. Collectivity, we're calling in
Mhm.
collectivity, community. That is like beyond the human, I think, is like another, it's a thing. It's like, it's not just that. The collective is everything.
I, I I personally hold that birds are a really big part of this.
Yeah. Let's bring in the birds. I was just talking to a crow like 2 hours ago.
Crows are so important right now for me. I
Yeah,
love to
they
hear
are for
that.
me. Oh,
Hmm.
that's cool. Yeah, I love crows. I live next to the cemetery, so it's like they are just such a big part of my life, especially now when the weather and the light is turning. They're just they're doing so well right now, the crows. They are in their prime.
Very,
And I
very
am
sweet.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we did it. We survived
Yeah.
summer,
Thank
guys.
goodness it's getting darker. Oh,
Yeah, crows are amazing.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so water is wet. I don't know. Yeah,
Mhm.
water. I guess like where there's many words in air, like many attempts at meaning with water, we just like enter this territory of wordlessness, uh, a flow, and there's almost like a lack of articulation, in my opinion, in when in like full water. Um, yeah, and so yeah, I'm thinking about fountains. I'm thinking about just like different bodies of water, but also fountains because fountains, like in Spanish, when we talk about when we write an article or whatever, when we're referencing something or someone's work, the word that we use is fountain. Like your reference is fountain. So you get asked, like, ¿Quién es tu fuente? Like, who is your fountain? Isn't that?
Wow. I love
Yeah.
it.
What is the source that you are drinking from, right? What is the thing that has been quenching your thirst? And I feel like this is kind of a connection between air and water here, right? Like it's like the water that's feeding, it's like the source, the primal source that we're drinking from, and then like somehow articulating it or bringing it into form with earth or, you know, burning it up in the cauldron. But there's something like very primal to water. Yeah.
Yeah. Like primordial, amniotic.
Yes.
Uh, it, in some ways, it's like always coming into form and then unforming. Um, yeah, I mean, when I think about emergence, I usually either picture coming out of the earth or coming out of water.
Mm.
Um, but um, one of my favorite things that comes out of water is the sword, Excalibur.
Yes. Love.
I sometimes think about like, how is it different to pull the sword from the stone
Mm.
versus to be handed it by the lady of the lake?
Wow. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Different vibes.
Different vibes. Yeah. But I feel like something I've noticed about water is it's like emergence is the context because like you go into the shower and now all these things start coming up. Um like when I get in the bath, like the level of trance that I can get into is so much more potent than in any other element for me.
Yeah.
And it feels like water, like itself, is the amplifier of the emergent for us. Does that resonate?
Mm. Yeah, that is. Oh, can you hear me?
Mhm.
I hear a weird echo.
Oh, I
Hello?
hate it when that happens, but I don't hear it.
Okay.
Usually goes away.
Okay. Okay, it's good.
Okay.
It's so weird because I was gonna say like water, yeah, like what you're saying is like kind of like water is like the microphone for spirit work. It's like that's how it comes through. Yeah, that resonates with me as well. Like the ritual, the very simple ritual of taking a shower or a bath or just going into a body of water. It's like Like you don't have to do much more, if you want to be in ritual, like just go find water, right?
Yeah.
Like there's
Yes, exactly. Look at water.
look at water, like touch it, let it cover your body. It is just so magical. And I think like something about it is like because we come from it, right?
Yes.
Like I associate it with that primordial the mother, right? The amniotic center. And likewise, I associate it with like the process of gestation, right? Of like how we're kind of, I don't know, connected to water in that sort of maternal way, and how we're collectively like gestating all the time, those of us that are in this work. Um, I really feel that in the groups. It's like a collective gestation, like we're all kind of giving birth to to each other. Like, does that resonate? Is that weird?
No, I love it. By
It's
groups,
very
you mean like our
Cancerian.
classrooms or
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Where like ideas are sort of incubated, gestated in like a collective way. It's just this makes me think of emergence, right? Because after the process of incubation, like collective sort of gathering and tending, that eventually like something emerges. It has to, like a
Yeah.
volcano again. Um,
Yeah.
and But yes, so these processes then require a lot of care, and I think that that's one of the things that we also associate with water. It's like tending uh, to the feeling body, self, the collective, the community. I think water is like um, super necessary for our revolutionary movements, right? We're not just creating meaning with air, creating structures, hopefully with earth, burning shit down, lighting shit up with fire. Like we also need to take care of each other and the collective and our feelings, our grief, um, all of those things. Yeah, that's what's coming up for me.
Yeah. Yeah. The open-heartedness of it.
Mm.
Yeah, as you were speaking, I was like seeing this picture of my classroom spaces as like walls of water, but the
Yeah.
outside is fire.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, yeah, when I call in the elements before anything, like what feels like it happens is a drop into an open heartedness that makes deeper receptivity possible. And from that, more can emerge. Um,
Mhm.
so tell me about Earth.
Okay. Earth. Um, Creation, shaping, giving form, giving life. Yeah, shaping the dreams of water and the thoughts of air and the erotic flame, and like putting into containers, vessels, bodies, systems, structures. I think about like sustainability, think about building futures, and I think of Earth.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think of Venus. What about you?
Yeah, I feel that the whether we're thinking of it as like a vessel or a temple, or even like the like sanctuary types where you sit down inside, like I guess amphitheaters kind of have that
Amphitheater?
quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, theaters, like um how the form facilitates what can come through in its own through its aesthetics and the like intelligence of the aesthetics, which are themselves are usually, I think, infused by some deeper integrity, some deeper truth, coming back to roots
Yeah.
here and justice and like a Saturn and Libra. Um, that form um, basically like allows things to happen, you know? So uh, it creates like circumstances for emergence, maybe we could say, or the
Mhm.
conditions.
Yeah. Like the life, again, back to the roots. I love that we went back to that because it was like rhizomatic intelligence of like the life that's being generated is being gestated underneath, like almost like in this non-visible way, that we don't have access to, like underground, but it's there, right? It's like the energy of it is there and it's coming and it's gonna eventually, like the root is gonna break ground and we'll see the life come up. Yeah. I mean, it's very chthonic too. I think of the word chthonic when I think of her
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
tragically. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the body, like um, our noises, our excretions, our tears all come through the body, you know,
Mhm.
this like wildly miraculous thing that we get to experience because we came here.
Mhm.
Hmm. And it goes through these change processes and life cycles and seasons, and new things emerge in those contexts. Um, but yeah. Anything else you want to share today or wanted to say? We
God,
talked a long
so
time.
much. Yeah. What else can we say? Be safe out there.
Do
No,
you,
it's, yeah.
I
Tell
feel
me.
like so much of what we shared, so listeners were loving this conversation. So much of the meditations today connect to your your space, Chthonic AF.
Yeah, but it's coming. So, well, I'm not sure when this is airing, but I hold a container, a course, that's going to happen during Scorpio season. We begin October 22nd. It's a month-long container. We have a few meetups. They're optional. They're not required, although like attendance is encouraged because as we know, like magical things happen when we gather, and we don't know exactly what that is going to look like, because we don't know who's going to be there. Like we it needs to be emergent, right? So it's an emergent space in that sense. But because it is Scorpio season, because it's Chthonic AF, because the thematics are of the underworld and the underlands, like it's important that it's also a container that you can engage with however you want, like from your bedroom, from your own time, from your cave space, as you say, Britain. Um, yeah, I just want it to be open like that. But yeah, we're going together into the underworld. Specifically, we are going to talk about two of my favorite characters, Medusa and the Sirens. Chthonic, both chthonic, both femmes, both like extremely feared, and also um, there's so much allure around them. Both of them like have been sort of bestowed this the archetype of the femme fatale, like the sort of evil woman that has a secret. And Yeah, we're gonna get into their stories like from the origin and see how they have like these figures have changed, like their stories have changed so much um, through our like human evolution, and we've kind of like turned them into whatever we wanted, culturally speaking. And so it's a deep dive. It's also a space, like it's a combination of sort of mythological untangling with ritual space, and also I think one of my geniuses, if I can say that, is
Yes.
to bring in and speak about visual culture and art. I'm very interested in seeing how artists have worked with these figures, have portrayed them, have been inspired by them, from the beginning until now. And it's very rich. So if you're interested in any of those topics and this way of thinking, then come and join us. I would love to have you. Of course, astrology is also going to be a part of it, but it is not an astrology class per se. You don't have to have knowledge, previous knowledge of astrology or literature or art. Just come as you are. I would love to have you. So, yes.
Yes. And this is your third iteration, right?
Yeah, so the first one was exactly last year, 2024 Scorpio season. That was the beginning of it. It's really like Medusa was speaking to me and wanted me to do this class. Um, and then, and then I did a Taurus season iteration, and it's really just it's become this thing that's like so much bigger than I could have imagined when I first started. It's really like a class that's a love letter to the Scorpio Taurus axis. I spoke a little bit about this at the beginning, this axis where we can have a lot of conversation around the life, death, rebirth cycle, what it means to, plant seeds, watch them grow. It's very much like tethered to agriculture and like feeding the body so that we can live, you know? This is one of the things about Scorpio's relationship to death that I think is like weirdly like clouded sometimes, is that it's because in the northern hemisphere we are in this point where we're quote unquote dying, right? Like we better have our bearings, we better have our food gathered, we better have our supplies. It's a matter of life and death with Scorpios. So I think like Scorpio is always thinking about that in the back of its mind. And so it's interesting to think about this in the axis, which I call, yeah, it's the Scorpio Taurus axis. And I also call this axis now the Persephone Demeter axis. Because,
Yes,
yeah,
it is true.
it is true.
It is what it is.
It is a
It is
cycle.
that. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much
you. That was
always,
fun.
Mariola. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll look forward to the next time you come back. Thank you so much.
Ciao.
Well, that was really meaningful. Yeah, thank you, Mariola. Thank you, listener. How are you feeling? Inviting you to notice what came up for you while listening, what feels alive for you from this conversation, what was the most impactful, the most activating, the most delightful from this conversation, and weaving that into your own life. If you resonate with Mariola's voice, of course, I'm encouraging you to follow Mariola, get on her Substack list, and consider Chthonic AF this Scorpio season. If you've never left a rating or review, I would love it if you would do so. It really, really helps when someone lands on a podcast that they've never heard of. Or maybe someone's like following me on Instagram and they like my work there, but they're not really sure they want to give their precious time and energy to another podcast. When there's new reviews, when there's lots of reviews and ratings, it's really, really helpful for someone to make that decision to go ahead and give it a shot, to go ahead and experiment. So it really, 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 really does matter. So if you are loving this space for your life, like it feeds you, it supports you, it brings you new people, it brings you new ideas, it brings you new ways of feeling into your own experiences, please, please, I'll be so grateful if you would leave a rating or review right now as you close out this podcast episode. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on YouTube, please support my channel because it's brand new and that especially could use some subscriber support, some love, because I have less of a aggregated energy over there in YouTube to support someone exploring with my voice there. So I really, especially in YouTube, would love your support in liking, subscribing, all of those things for my channel, as I'm just like slowly just allowing that to root and take hold. All right, well, that's it. I've already recorded number 4 in the series, so look for that to be coming out soon. That one's going to have my boyfriend, my partner, Matt Bull. So super fun. We recorded that just today as I'm recording this now. So it'll be out probably right around like October 2nd or 3rd, whatever the Friday is when that will come out. And yeah, we talked about completely different things than in the first 3 of the series. It's how I knew it would be. Each of these is so rich. There's so much. And it just reminds me like what a fountain emergence is as a zone for the imagination, for ideation, for exploration, for inquiry. And I'm so happy to be doing this. If you're loving it, I'd love to hear from you. If you want to be part of it, I'd love to hear from you. If you have suggestions for folks to come on, I would love to hear from you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you at the next one.